Morning on this Friday, the 7th of August, and just a glorious sunset off one of the beaches in North Cairns, looking back to the west towards inland and just seeing the sun and the colours just blending into the evening. And today I thought I'd read to you from Psalm 105, which is a psalm of praise and thanksgiving. Give thanks to the Lord, proclaim his greatness, tell the nations what he's done, sing praise to the Lord, tell the wonderful things that he's done, be glad that we belong to him. Let all who worship in him rejoice. Go to the Lord for help and worship him continually. You descendants of Abraham, his servant, you descendants of Jacob, the man he chose. Remember the miracles that God performed and the judgments that he gave. This is a reminder. As we read the psalm, as we think and meditate upon the psalm today, we're reminded we need, one, to continually give thanks to God. That we need to tell what God is, who God is, tell of the great things that he's done. Number three is we need to praise God. And in praising, come to a place of rejoicing. To do it continuously. So there's 5 things already. And number 6, to remember. And all of that together will put us in the right place. That we give thanks. We're reminded to give thanks even when we don't feel like it. And it would be easy just to soak in the wonders of a sunset like this and just to forget about God, just enjoy the beauty. But being reminded to give thanks to God is a precious part of what changes our hearts and who we are before God. And that we need to tell people. They may not listen. That doesn't matter. All we've asked to do is to say, look, I do this because I love God. And as we continue to praise God, even when you don't feel like it, and there are days, I think during this week, the days when I got up and I really don't want to praise God because I'm just so tired. I've been so exhausted. And so many people are feeling drained as they struggle with what life is like here in 2020. Praise God anyway. It's a discipline that we need to do. And as you do that, you'll come to a place of renewed joy. I remember one fellow many, many years ago who was suffering from severe clinical depression. When he shared with me how deep it was, I was, oh wow. And he said, I don't want to scare you. He said, I scared my psychiatrist. I went, okay, this is bad. And we just prayed for him to receive a new heart. And one of the things he shared with me about a year later was that God did give him a new heart. He couldn't feel anything before that. And he went through this period of massive depression. But he said every day, his life was just wasteland and ashes. But he would spend time praising God. He would just pick up the Psalms, like this Psalm. And after dragging himself out of bed, forcing himself to open his Bible, he would read. And he said after about 10 minutes, this was just in the middle of this desert that his life was, this fountain of praise would well up in his heart. He'd find himself singing. And he said, even though the rest of his day was terrible, it was that moment of joy, that light of joy that gave confidence and an anchor to go on. So continue to praise God, especially if you don't feel like it. And let God do the transformation in your heart. And continually ask God for help. And continue to worship. It's encouragement. When we let go of that, we are the ones that suffer. God doesn't. We need to remember what it is that God's done. That's why in the Old Testament, the people are told again and again and again and again, retell the story, retell the history of your people each time. Each time you come for major celebrations so that you remember what it is that God has done for you. So being able to tell our testimony about what God has done is not simply to give us something which will help people to hear, but it's also recounting what God has done in our lives as a way for us to remember the realities of God for us and the things that we would treasure. And that story will change over time as we have more experience. It's easy to talk about the great times, but sometimes it's the way that God continues to remain faithful to us in the hard times that we grow and our story expands. Spend time in praising God now and always. Amen.